Okay, so what is up YouTube? It's Heretic here, and I am back with another week of new videos for you guys, and today we are going to start off with an overlook at a deck list and player interview with my good buddy Treynor Wolfe, who recently won the Madison Regional Championships just this past weekend. And so we're going to take a quick look at the deck here that he played before he joins us for our interview. So this is a Eviltal Maxis Gallade Archeops list here. So we're going to kind of notice here just right off the bat we've got 2 Eviltal EX, 1 Darkrai EX, got a 1/1 Archeops Gallade, and 1 Maxis Hidden Ball Trick over here. Keldeo, pretty much the norm, a Shaman, a Jirachi, some baby Eviltals. One thing you might notice here is we've got 2 copies of the Fright Knight Eviltal, and this is actually something that I myself, had I elected to play Eviltal this weekend, which I probably should have, would have also opted to run 2 copies of, just because of how good it is against decks like Mega Rayquaza and anything Mega Evolution wise, as well as just EX heavy decks with its attack. Card is just really good in expanded format particularly. We also notice there is a Mewtwo EX included here, something that a lot of Eviltal decks I feel like have kind of dropped out of their list. But we see it going strong here in a regionals winning list, so can't really argue much with that. It just looks pretty good. So we see our item lineup is pretty standard. We got a computer search, we got 3 Trainer's Mail, 3 Battle Compressor to help speed us along, and then we got 4 Dark Patch, obviously, and then 4 Ultra Ball and 4 VS Seeker. Again, very standard, but nonetheless incredibly consistent. You gotta definitely love that. Supporter lineup, we see a lot of 1-ofs. We have an AZ, a Colress, Getsis, which in my opinion is probably the most overpowered card in all of expanded format. Just absolutely insane. We also have the aforementioned Maxis Hidden Ball Trick. We have an N, 2 Lysanders, and 3 copies of Professor Sycamore. Nearly certain Trainer actually ran Junipers, but it's the same thing, so it's whatever. Then we have 2 Parallel Cities to get liabilities like Shaman and Jirachi off of our bench. We can also bench lock our opponent, another effective strategy against Mega Rayquaza, which can otherwise be a rather problematic matchup. And Archeops itself, you know, it really depends on their list as to whether or not that thing really helps much against Mega Ray, because a lot of times they'll just hex around it and then Lysander it up, or if they run the Carnivine, they get around it that way, they just bring it up to the active. So like, I don't know, I just feel like Parallel City and Fright Knight Eviltal are the way to go in that matchup. And then 2 Silent Labs as well, which also helps that same matchup, and a lot of other ones. Helps like Vespiquen Flareon, stops Shames and Unknowns, can help against Night March for the same reason. Toad Tina, if you really need help with that. I feel like you already have a pretty good Toad Tina matchup here. Just a lot of stuff that Silent Lab can do. Really powerful card. And then we have 2 Fighting Fury Belts and 2 Float Stones. No Muscle Band. Definitely interesting, but obviously it worked out pretty darn well, and the extra 40 HP that Fighting Fury Belt offers is more than powerful. So definitely worth something here to as we see it. And then 4 double colorless energy is pretty obvious, and then 7 darkness. Usually we see between 6 and 7, so get the extra 1 darkness energy in there. Consistency. Consistency always king. So that is Trainer's list, and now he is going to join us for a player interview. So I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, everybody, so I'm Heretic here. You can hear my voice, and we've got Treynor Wolfe with us now, and so he's a buddy of mine who you won the Madison Regionals just this past weekend.
Yeah, I did.
That's totally awesome. Like, when I saw you were doing so well, and I was like, well, he's gonna make top 32, he's gonna make top 8, and I was like, oh my god, I hope he wins. Oh my god, it was so cool. So
Sure was.
what was the experience like for you?
Well, pretty exhilarating. I mean, going into the tournament, like, I actually kind of wrestled, like a month ago, like I knew, like right after states, like, should I play a deck for fun, because I've already got my invite, but San Francisco isn't cheap, so I kind of wanted to get a stipend, and I top 16 Kansas States, so I had 332 points, so I was definitely in, like, how do I say this? I was definitely in a position where I could actually try and get a stipend and realistically earn about $500 or $750. So That was the big goal for me this weekend. And what I really wanted, my goal was day two. I didn't really expect to top eight, let alone win. But usually we set realistic goals for ourselves, and then we just try to push past them. But sometimes that kind of hinders me because usually my goal is top cut at tournaments, and then I have a nasty habit of losing in top cut very quickly because I don't know. I guess my brain just kind of checks out, or I don't know. Sometimes there's other factors too. But
Your brain
I was
certainly
talking,
did. Oh, so, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, I was talking to my friend Paul Cheville from Iowa, and I was just about to play my last round of day one, and I was 6-1-1 at that point. I just lost a night march. That was my first loss. I was 6-0-1 before that, and I was talking to him, and I was like, I could just ID and guarantee my way in, but if I lose, I might not make it in, And it turns out a 6-2-1 probably would have made it in, especially with my resistance. But he's like, no, man, you got to play it, because if you go in tomorrow, just think about 7-1-1, And I won. I played against Eric Gansman, who I played in the finals. I played him in the last round of Swiss, and I beat him two. I 2-0'd him. Not a very good matchup for him, of course, but
Yeah.
so I started day two at 7-1-1, and my friend in seniors, Kieran and Wagner, texted me that night and was like, "You only need to win like 2 games in day two to make top cut." And I was like, "You're joking, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, you only need like 30 match points." So that's like he said I need to go either 104 in day two, which is probably not going to happen because I can't ID 4 times against those guys because I'm not going to face people with the same the same record as me. They're going to want to play to make it in. Or I go 2-1-2. And day two, I started off my first round against the same Night March deck I lost against in day one. So I was like, at that point, I was thinking, this is going to be pretty uphill for me. This is going to be pretty tough because this Night March deck creamed me 2-0, you know, in in Swiss day one. Um, so I played him and I lost game one, so that was even more demoralizing for me because I was like, I was thinking about my chances. I could still just win 2 more after this, but you never like expect to win games all the time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
never just roll in there like I'm just gonna win games.
Yeah. And it's
That's
always,
at least how I never really expected.
yeah, it's always like, I'm going to try.
Yeah, and then I played game two, and I get this Tim in Silent Lab, and he
Oh
had
my
nothing.
God.
He only had a Lysander in hand.
That's
I'm
amazing.
like, okay, well now it's 1-1, so maybe I could squeak off a win here. And then game three, my Getsus came in pretty handy again, and I just outlasted him. I was able to like he actually could night march for like KOs and stuff like that. So as much as I dread that matchup, it's probably not as bad as I'm making it seem because I know Austin Vance, who top eight at Georgia regionals. He played 3 night marches and he beat 2 of them, I think.
Okay.
It's doable. So I'm kind of getting off topic with your question.
Oh no, you're
I
perfectly
felt
fine.
I felt great about my chances that weekend. Um, I mean, I tied my first round, and I feel like as you play a deck more in a tournament, you get better with it. Like you just get used to that competitive setting, and you get used to thinking critically with what you have in your deck. So, my first round I tied, and um, it looked like I was going to lose game three, and I'm actually glad that it went to time. But I
Yeah.
think that if I had played, and also game two, I got Getsus to nothing.
Oh, I hate
So
that.
game two didn't really happen, but I won game one without Gallade, and game three, like I didn't get Gallade out either.
What was that matchup?
Turbo Dark.
Okay.
If I
So
don't
that was
get
a
Gallade
matchup
out,
where
if I
Glade
don't
really
get
would have
Gallade
helped
out,
you.
yeah, if I don't get Gallade out, it's not favorable because he plays lasers
Yeah.
and he just out damages me, and he has 180 HP on that Dark Ride, and he only needs 2 or 3 energies on it.
Well,
So,
and he can bump it up to 220 if he's running the Fury Belt.
mm. So Fright Night really came in handy there, but I feel like if I would have had a little bit more like experience with this deck, I would have won that game maybe, or at least had a better chance in game three before we tied. But my opponent played it really well. But then after that, I just kept winning. Like I was I won like 4 in a row, and then I faced Jason Klaczynski on stream,
Yeah.
and I beat him because he wasn't playing a Mr. Mime primarily.
Hmm.
And I was at that point I was 6-0 and 1, or I was 5-0 and 1, and then I beat him. So then I was 6-0 and 1, and I was feeling really great about my chances going into day two. Like, I was like, I'm probably gonna make it. There's like no way I'm not gonna, even if I lose my next two, I don't make it.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be
So
able
I've
to
actually,
probably ID twice and get in.
yeah, but nobody would do that.
No.
So I lost, and then I won my last round, and then I was 7-1.
Yeah.
So I never actually had a lot of moments of adversity in this tournament, like where I was like, I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah.
Never like I never really had even like a win in it. I just kind of played, I just kind
Hmm.
of won.
Yeah, just got off to a hot start, and just
Yeah, like
rode it.
yeah, this deck like is probably the best deck I've ever played in my 5-year career of Pokemon.
That's
Like,
pretty
it
crazy.
means something when a deck could go 12-1 and 4 on a weekend,
Yeah, that's
and even
absolutely incredible.
and beat a matchup that it lost to in Swiss.
Hmm.
Um,
Definitely.
Obviously, some luck came into play. As it like in every tournament that you play in, if you do well, you have a little bit of luck going for you. You have to.
Yeah.
Like you have to have some like your opponent misplays or they forget something. Um, there's like quite a degree of skill in this game too, but it's really hard to push yourself to the to where you're winning tournaments without like a little bit of breaks going your way, and I had a lot of those go my way this weekend.
Never hurts, we take those.
Mm, sure do.
Well, it's pretty awesome. I mean, I myself have never won a major event before, so I think that's really cool that you were able to
Top
do
16
that.
nationals though.
Yeah, well, yeah, I had that. Um, so anyway, I went over your deck. You played Dark Archeops. So, like, what led you to choose this deck?
Um, Primarily that I didn't really like any other decks.
Okay.
Like, I was talking with a lot of buddies about it, and they said this is the deck you need to play. Like this is what I'm playing. Like just outright, I'm just gonna play this. And I normally test a lot, but I normally have a standby. Like Night March was my standby for states, but like this is my standby for regionals. So I tested Night March with Mew, and I didn't really like that. And then, it ended up not being the real like way to run Night March because now they're the best lists are running Time Puzzle and everything like that in standard.
Yeah.
But I was really kind of bored of that. So
Yeah.
then I was testing Mega Ray Quads a lot, and I was like, I'm gonna play Mega Ray. And then like when I was playing Mega Ray, a lot of first turns felt really underwhelming. Like I
Okay.
just did not feel fulfilled unless I was doing like attacking first turn, or if I fall short of that, I just don't feel great.
Yeah.
Iffy Night March matchup kind of made it, you know, not a good play for me. So, and then I was testing Turbo Darkrai a lot,
Okay.
which is, without lasers, it's what a lot of the Southern players did well with. And I played against my buddy Kyle Warden on EDCGO a lot, and I was just beating him with this Yveltal deck. I was like, I'm gonna play this. You play that. You beat me. You convinced me to play it. And like he might have, it might have just been poor luck. Like he wasn't really attacking with the Dark Pulse Darkrai that much in our games. But I was pretty convinced at that point that that's a very winnable matchup for your Maxie's Yveltal even without Glade.
Okay.
And it is. You could do it because you have
Fright
right
Night.
now you have Silent Labs because they don't play Floatstone, so you just
Yeah.
lock them
So
in
they're
place.
depending entirely on Dark Cloak.
Yeah, and they only play like 2 stadiums, and you always counter them because you play 4.
Yeah.
So that's what ultimately led me to play this. Like I was like, why is there like can I see my? I always ask myself, can I see myself winning a tournament with a deck? Like
Hmm.
if I can't do that, then I'm not playing it. Like
Yeah.
and I obviously could see myself winning a tournament with this deck. Like it's done very well. Like a lot of top players play it, and they do very well with it. So my list is very similar to a lot of the other, all the other players' lists.
Yeah, and well, and I think like a lot of what you said there. Can you see yourself winning a tournament? Because it's like if your goal, like you said, was to day two, it's like, well, can I see myself winning? Okay, well,
Yeah,
if I can see myself winning with this list, then I can alleviate some of that pressure because I don't need to get first. I need to get top
exactly.
32.
The
You
other
could
thing, yeah, sorry.
no, you go
The
ahead.
other thing is that expanded is such a diverse format. I played against so many different decks. I talked to a few buddies, and they played against different decks. like one of my friends played against 4 Trevenants, and
Oh God.
I didn't play against one until Swiss. So um, you play all sorts of weird decks, and so you want to pick a deck that's consistent and that has the tools to beat just about any deck. Like this deck has the great has a great disruption element to it, like parallel limit your bench to 3, Silent Lab, Archeops, gets this. Just got awesome, even Fright Night. It's just got great disruption elements that'll help alleviate the hurt that the speed decks will put on you, like Night March or Mega Rayquaza,
Yeah.
and like Flareon too.
Hmm.
And it's just got the staying power to beat all the other like slower decks like Toad. Because
Yeah.
I played against Toad Giratina twice in day one, and then I played against the same guy in day two, and the Fright Night Yveltal was just like it was a monster.
Yeah.
Yveltal EX was just a monster. Like Mewtwo was
Hmm.
just insane.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a lot of just brute muscle, and the Fright Night Evil Tall is just like it's so good. Like you said, you have a lot of counters, like especially against a deck like Mega Rayquaza that would just overwhelm you normally. Like
Yeah.
even if you miss the Archeops, I feel like just Fright Night shutting down Spirit Links and Parallel City cutting their bench so severely, not once
My
but twice.
I had my best comeback ever in Pokemon in my third round against a Mega Rayquaza player. I
Nice.
He drew pretty poorly in round one, or game one, so I won't talk about that. But in game two, he got off to an explosive start, and I was pretty much draw passing with just a mega, just a Yveltal active Darkrai. Like I was kind of just trying to tread water. I was almost gonna get benched. That's how bad it was. And then I top decked like a Juniper or something like that. And then I started. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I like top decked a Juniper, and it was like 6-1 prizes. No, I top decked like an N or something like that. Something or
Okay.
no, 6-2 prizes. I had a Mewtwo active and then I attached DC, and then I end him to 2, and then I played like Silent Lab, so I dropped his bench to like 5,
Yeah. So he
and
wasn't.
then I X-balled him for like 100, and he attacked, did not do enough, and then he only had a 1 Rayquaza on the bench with a DCE. So then I just go X ball again, and I knocked out his Mega Ray, and then he was like trying to get the second Mega Ray out, or no, I had like, yeah, I think I'm trying to like remember this.
Because I was thinking like he'd just be
I
able to
took the
attack
knockout with
you.
Mewtwo. I took the knockout with Mewtwo,
Yeah.
and he did not attack my Mewtwo. Had no damage on it. I can't remember what I did the initial damage with. Probably Yveltal EX, and he knocked out my Yveltal EX. And then my Mewtwo, softened him up, and then he did, or no, my Mewtwo knocked him out, and then he had intensifying burn my Mewtwo because he was just drawing poorly, and I eventually sent up Fright Night, and I was just able just to keep, doing 60 spread with that,
Yeah.
with only like 4 prizes to 1, and I always had the chance to end them to 1. And Mega Rayquaza has a problem where like if you that first turn attack takes a lot of resources out of your deck.
It
So when you
does.
get End or Gets this later, you're not going to draw out of it. You have so many supporters. You burned all 4 of your Shamans. I play Silent Lab too. I mean, I think one time I Getsed him and he had like 3 Skyfields.
Oh my
Like it
God.
was cool. So, um, but that was probably like the biggest comeback I've ever made in Pokemon. Not that he played the matchup poorly. It's just that this deck has like it can win.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to use Parallel City. He burned a
Wow.
Sacred Ash. He had to discard a Sacred Ash really early, so I knew if I got a Parallel,
Yeah.
I'd be rolling.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. So, I mean, obviously, this as far as a deck choice, you did your play testing a little bit, and you played against like you said the Turbo Dark and stuff, and you had other like you had a standby option.
Mhm.
Um, Now when you look at like when I look at your final list, like I noticed it was pretty standard for the most part, like especially like the trainer cards, but no pun intended. But but I also just kind of noticed when I was looking at it, like I guess I feel like a lot of people have dropped the Mewtwo specifically from their dark lists, which
Yeah.
is it seems like something that people dropped like almost a year ago.
Okay.
So it's kind of
So
interesting to see that.
here's my case for Mewtwo. Um, it took about a third of my prizes.
Oh my God,
It took so many prizes.
that's incredible.
Like it's a good finisher. And since I only play one dark, like I don't like attacking with Darkrai. It's not a very like it's very underwhelming in my opinion. often. Like it does 90 then 30 damage on the bench when I could just Fright Night, I could do
Yeah.
60-60. And or I could just attack with Yveltal EX. So Mewtwo is essentially a 30 Yveltal EX. It's another
Okay.
big attacker that punishes you for having energies. And see, when I played against Toad, the Mewtwo was just insane. Like it was like when all your energies are getting hammered off.
Yeah.
Being able to attach one energy and do 80 damage, and if they don't hammer it off, I'm knocking you out next turn.
Yeah, you attach another energy.
And I could keep scaling up more and more damage. Like, it's insane. And I had so many people message me after, like, so many good players message me on Facebook after the win, and they saw my list, and they go like, wow, that Mewtwo must have been really good. Wow, that Mewtwo's busted. Wow, that Mewtwo's awesome. Like, they'd see me win with Mewtwo on stream.
Yeah.
Like, even on my top 8 match against Owen, I think I used my Mewtwo to take like 3 or 4 prizes.
Oh my goodness!
It just went haywire, and well, he misplayed because he thought he knocked out my Mewtwo, but I had a Fighting Fury belt.
Oh.
And then I knocked out his one single Flareon left with my Mewtwo, but like Mewtwo is just a great like if that was the Yveltal EX active and not a Mewtwo, I would not have taken all those prizes. Like because I would have had to attach twice and attack. With Mewtwo, I just go attach once, attack, X ball. When you play this version of Yveltal with only one Oblivion Wing Yveltal, you only have one attacker that only attacks for one prize, and that's Oblivion Wing Yveltal. Unless you add Mewtwo. I'm not counting Gallade because you actually have to try and get that sucker out. On a consistent basis, like a one prize attack or one energy attacker is really good, like in Mewtwo. And I was playing against Groudon after the Jason Klaczynski game, and I was a little concerned that he would have, he had 2 Groudons going. He would Lysander Yveltal, kill it, and then I kill him with my other Yveltal, and then he would kill it with his other Groudon, and then I'm done. Like, I have nothing. Like, I could attack with Darkrai, but, like, how underwhelming is that, when you have a 4-energy attacker that's just going to clobber you again without even playing a stadium?
Yeah.
So the Mewtwo kind of gave me an out to that, and I always Y-Cyclone. You could Y-Cyclone to the Mewtwo to do, to help it scale up its damage, but I think the big reason why people do not play Mewtwo is because you can't Dark Patch to it. But to that I say it doesn't matter that much.
No, because you run 4 double colorless, you can throw one on there and just easy attack.
So and also I could like attach Darks to it and give it free retreat with Darkrai out and stuff like that. So
definitely.
The Mewtwo was just like it was a clutch attacker against all my Toad matchups and against that Rayquaza player, and it was a clutch card in top 8 against Vespiquen Flareon. So that Mewtwo has won me 4 rounds. Like it pretty much won me 4 rounds.
That's incredible.
So, and that is incredible for a 1-tech attacker, And if I don't need it, I could always just pitch it. But like I urge all Yveltal players. I said this on the official stream. If you play Yveltal, you really need to consider playing Mewtwo. I don't think that you'll want to go back to what it was before. Like that Mewtwo was initially only in there to counter other Gallades.
Oh, yeah.
I think I knocked out 1 Gallade all weekend. That Mewtwo did work in other ways.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that happens too. You put something in for one reason and it ends up being really good in something else.
Oh, yeah. And, techs that do that kind of thing.
They're not really just techs anymore.
Yeah, they're really not. They're just other attackers. That's why, like, when they gave me the sheet, say like what are your top 4 Pokemon in your deck, I put Yveltal EX, Mewtwo, Yveltal, Fright Night.
Yeah,
that was my 4 top cards.
So that's interesting because that was actually going to be my next question was what was your MVP? Because I know you
Mewtwo.
Yeah, as I said, like Mewtwo, and I know you talked a bit about
maybe not even Mewtwo. Probably more like Fright Night Yveltal.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
I had 3 attackers that took almost a lot of my prizes, but I think Fright Night Yveltal was probably the most disruptive yet offensive card in my deck. Like, I never won a game unless I pitched Blackbeard probably once or twice. Like, wow. Like because it's just such a setup attacker. Like,
it is.
Like if you have Yveltal EX as your beater, at least Yveltal like Fright Night would chisel away at it, a little bit so that it just falls apart easily. Like if I pitch Black Spear one time, I set up 2 Pokemon to get easily knocked out by Yveltal EX. Like that's huge.
Well, and even
also,
Y-Cyclone, potentially.
Yeah, or like against like the mirror match or against like Turbo Dark, if there's two Darkrai's, like I
Oh
do
yeah.
60 to one, do 60 to the other, and then
The evil ball's just gonna wipe them
the
off.
Eva Ball wipes him out because I don't, and also I don't need to like put too much energy on my Yveltal to do
No.
that, and also um they can't let Fright Night Yveltal survive, like they can't let it do it
No.
again. If they do it, if I do it twice, if I do
You
it
could
three,
just
I always say if I do it three times, I win the game because I'll do
yep.
60 60, 60 60, and then 60 60 to something else. Like I'll soften up your entire board, or I'll knock out like at least two or three, two EXs or so if I have to. Um, the Fright Night Yveltal was also like an MVP against Groudon. I would not have won any of my
Oh,
Groudon
it's
matches.
fantastic against Groudon.
Yeah, and I played two of them.
Okay.
So my
Yeah.
MVP this weekend was Fright Night Yveltal. Like
Okay.
I I almost want to like make a little shrine in my room for it. Like it was
Yeah.
so indispensable. It was such a
It's such
card.
a fantastic card.
It really is, and it was so mediocre when it first came out. But
Well, and I think the big difference is expanded format is really where it shines because you can dark patch to it and then attach
yeah,
and just charge it up in one turn versus having to take 2 turns. And what you were saying about like against Turbo Dark, even if you pitch Black Spirit with it only twice, if they knock it out, like they really do have to limit you to one because you can bring the second one up and
yeah,
finish that job.
and they only take one prize for it. Like
Yeah,
it's not,
exactly.
the only thing that I feel like I lose is the 3 energy.
Yeah.
And even then, like I have so much energy recovery with Dark
Yeah.
Patch and double colorless energy.
Oh yeah. No, that's really awesome. Like that's such a good card. I think.
Another cute thing I do with it is that sometimes I'll Y Cyclone with Yveltal with a Fighting Fury belt and do 100, and then I'll Silent Lab my Fright Night with Fighting Fury belt, and then I'll do 70 and knock out
Yeah.
Yveltal EX and do 60 spread to something else.
Oh
Like,
my god,
and
that's so good.
that's what makes Silent Lab awesome.
That's a
I had a
skill play
play.
right there.
I had a play in the finals, which I didn't realize until after the game. I had to hit a Wobbuffet for like I think 60 when I had already had 40 damage on it, and it does not knock it out, so it's kind of underwhelming. And then I get knocked out in return, but I didn't realize that he shut off my ability, and I
Yep.
had a Fighting Fury belt.
Oh, so
So
yeah,
I
so
could have done
you could
70 and
KO'd
knocked it
him.
out. Yeah, and then that
Okay.
would have, but I won anyway. But I mean,
Yeah,
like that would have,
but it's just
that
something
would
you
have,
kind of learn from the experience,
yeah.
for next time.
Plus, playing on stream is a lot different than playing.
Oh yeah, I mean
I
a lot
understand when
more.
people say I understand when people say I don't want to play on stream.
Well, I would think it's more stressful, like
Yeah.
people are
Plus, I feel like
watching.
well, plus I know it's not so, like when I played against Jason Kozinski, it was the first time I was ever on stream, and it was also the first time I ever played Jason.
Okay.
So my first 2 turns were kind of like I was kind of like trying not to misplay or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I really fell into the groove of the stream when I faced Owen in top 8. Like I really felt comfortable, like I was playing Pokemon. But you still kind of feel like you're like in a fish tank. Like,
Yeah.
you got the headset on. You can only hear each other. There's white noise in the headset, and it's just kind of a weird thing that you're not really used to when you play Pokemon. But now when I'm on stream, I'm more used to it. So
Yeah. I mean, you had what three matches on stream, so.
yeah, my first one was the hard one. Um,
Now, what was Jason playing in that match? I didn't get to watch it because I was in
Primal
Georgia.
Primal
Groudon.
Groudon.
Okay.
He took a huge risk that weekend and not play Mr. Mime.
Okay, yeah, I remember you said he didn't play mine.
So that really made that matchup not too difficult for me because I would like he was really like surprised that I played 2 Fright Nights. Like he was like, "Oh, 2 Fright Nights." So like he kind of knew that was not he was gonna really have a hard time. But it's still Jason Kozinski. He still does he still makes the best plays just at just about any time. And I never thought that he really misplayed. It's just that with 2 Fright Nights, like it's almost impossible for Groudon to win that. Like it's such a I would have Fright Nights attack. I probably did like a pitch black spear like 4 or 5 times because those Groudons take so much damage.
Yeah.
And also he heals so much. And then my Yveltal EX comes in and just,
Cleans it
wipes
up.
or yeah. So plus like the round after that I played Groudon, but I play Silent Lab.
Mm-hmm.
So if they play a Mr. Mime, I could still get some damage down, but they could always heal. I had a really weird game after that round with Jason Kozinski against Austin Zettel, Austin Zettel, I think. We had a really unfortunate situation at the end of game 2 where he had a hard charm on his Groudon, and I'm so used to a Wobbuffet being active but I pitched Blackspear probably 3 times with like a Robo Sub active, and we kept applying the hard charm damage when
Oh.
really should have been wiped out. So we called a judge over, and then the judge, me and him were like, "Yeah, we agree that I pitched Blackspear 3 times," and he didn't realize that the fourth pitch Blackspear would have knocked him out, and it's my turn. So we put 180 down and was like pitch Blackspear for game, and then I felt so bad for him because he had so
Yeah.
many cards and stuff like that. He would have played so much differently if we
Oh,
would have
yeah.
just that. So, and also he probably was going to win that game too because he had like, I actually had to like X ball his Mewtwo to kill it, or not his Mewtwo, his Mr. Mime to kill it, so I could
Oh,
set up,
wow.
more pitch Black Spears and stuff like that. But he probably would have won that game. He had a huge comeback going, and then I kind of ruined it. So, unfortunately, he was an awesome player. So,
Yeah. Okay. So I guess the next thing I mean, obviously when you win regionals, I feel like, it's kind of like the top of the mountain as far as these tournaments go right now.
yeah,
But if I had, I mean, I know you're obviously going forward now. Would you change anything in this list going forward?
no,
Keep it as is, even with Fates Collide coming into format, all that stuff.
yeah. See, on my 8-hour car ride home, back to Nebraska, I was thinking about every single card in this list, and if I would cut it, and I just won't. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing. Like, I hate to say it's perfect but it's perfect for me. Because dark decks, you tend to like play what feels right for you, and that's kind of Pokemon in general. But this dark deck, this deck is perfect for me. Like, there's a card that I would cut. I was talking to some people about it, and they said like, I'm going to try putting Marowak in and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't really think that you need Marowak from the Fates Collide set, even though because you got Gallade. That if you're under item lock, you could always premonition supporters back to the top. Like, I don't think Toad's gonna be that popular, even though I played against like 3 of them yesterday, yesterday and the day before.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's really worth putting in a Marowak. I don't think it's really worth putting in like anything from Fates Collide in this set or into this deck. In fact, I think this deck actually gets better with Fates Collide because people are playing more Muse, which gets shut down by Silent Lab. They play more. Like Alakazam might be a thing, and that might hurt me a little bit. But Fright Knight has a field day against that.
Oh yeah.
That fighting deck with the Regirocks and Landorus.
That I don't think that's any threat to you. I mean, you only won
Fright
one
Knight.
Darkrai anyway. Yeah, Fright Knight just kind of takes control.
Yeah, and plus I play Silent Lab, so I shut off all those abilities on the bench.
Yeah.
So
it's just so good.
If anything, you still this deck. I just wouldn't change it. Like if anything, I would want to make the Night March matchup like more, like less difficult. Like right now, I think it's 60-40 in Night March's favor.
Okay.
It really depends on if I could get to Silent Lab you without you having like a supporter in your hand, which is very likely because that deck.
Sorry about that. It's
all good, but like the thing that I might want to put in there is another Oblivion Wing Yveltal. But I wouldn't want to cut anything because everything in this deck had a use for me.
Yeah.
So I used every single card, the way it was supposed to be used. So I think some decks ran only 6. Like I think John Ang, I was looking at his deck that he top cut with in I think Florida, Kissimmee, Florida. And he only put 6 darks. So maybe you could cut to 6 darks to fit room for something else, but you don't want to run out of darks. In my game 1 in finals, I thought I was out of energies, and then I top decked a double colorless energy when he Lysandered my Gallade. Or no, I didn't top deck it. I just had it in hand, but I was saving it for a retreat if I needed to.
Yeah.
When he Lysandered my Gallade and hit it, and then I was like, all right, well, this is where that DC comes in. I attacked it. I sensitive bladed. So 11 energy is like the sweet spot for this deck.
Yeah, I think that really feels like right about the right spot. Because I've seen some that only run 6 dark, but I just feel like that 7th one is just like
7's nice. You could dump a few.
Yeah, and then even when you do for like dark patch and stuff, you still have more left over that you can use, so you can draw into them and then also, so you don't have to waste the double colorless, and then you can
Yeah,
save it for like
exactly.
the situation you just explained with the Gallade.
Hmm. Exactly.
So that's a pretty well-rounded list you've got there. I mean, I looked at it. I couldn't come up with anything that personally that I would change. I mean,
Mm.
I love 2 Fright Nights. If I was gonna play Dark, I think that's definitely the way I would have gone this weekend. It's like I said, like you said too. It's so disruptive, and it's such an all-around just
You can't
well-rounded
really
card. It's
you can't really win a game without it.
Yeah, it's
With
it,
this deck.
it's so powerful. I mean, just really awesome. But anyway, I think that was really really cool what you did. So where are we gonna see you next?
Kansas City regionals.
So this
Um,
coming weekend?
yeah. See, like it's so I'm in a weird spot right now because I'm kind of shorthanding myself again, but I top 8 at states and I top 16 too, so I got 50, 30, 30 as far as my championship points go, and regionals fit into that too. Wait, is there 4 top?
I
Like,
think
what's the
last I
is
had
it
heard it was
4 or
only
6?
3. I thought it was 3 because
Last year I think it was 4.
what was it for? I
I
mean,
think it's 4
I honestly don't know.
because
So
last year I won 2 and top cut 2 and I got all the points for it. So I think it's
okay.
4,
So at
and
that
that's
point,
regionals
yeah.
and states.
At
So
that point, yeah,
I'm
you
at
would be at 260 just from states and regionals.
yeah, I'm at 50, 30, 30, 150 for my best finish limit for states and regionals. So, assuming I day 2 this upcoming regionals, I don't get any points because I've already got 30 points from another states.
Yeah. So you would
So I
have to
need
at
a
least get top 16,
top 16 or top 8 again.
or you could just
And
win again.
good, that'd be sweet. Hopefully, they've
Yeah,
ever
it
had a
would.
two-time regional champion in one regional
Back to
cycle.
back weeks, yeah.
Yeah, I could do it. Maybe. I
Same
mean,
60,
this deck has a lot of momentum going for it, but
Yeah, definitely.
so like I think my situation right now is that I'm probably still gonna play, but I'm not gonna be too bummed out if I don't,
Mm.
because I'm like I don't really like need the extra points from that. Like I think I'm pretty safe for 750, like top
Yeah,
64
I would definitely say
at
so. I mean,
487
yeah,
points.
you have more than I had a year ago when I got into the 750. So
Yeah.
I definitely
And
think you're in.
last year I had 415, and I got 750.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Yeah. So you had a few more points than I did last year at this
there's more
time.
points this year than last year because of the Boston Open, but like I
Oh,
still think
okay.
that I'm safe for that.
Gotcha.
So like I'm like thinking like should I play something fun? Should I play something like just different than this? Like I'm not like sick of playing this, but like
I'm just kind of considering exploring options. I feel like too.
yeah,
The
which I'm going
experience is
to.
always
And if
good.
anything, if I don't like anything, I'll go back to this because
Hmm. Definitely.
this will always be there for me. And so big things I'm testing right now. Um, I think Turbo Dark with Mew is really
Okay.
good. Um, I thought of that a while ago, and I had a few really good players tell me about it, which kind of confirmed my thoughts about it. And I don't think it's going to be played very much. But Mew really solves the Gallade issue for Turbo Dark,
Certainly.
and um, I might miss the versatility of this deck, the Maxis version,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna try the Turbo Dark version because it was still my top 4 match. Like I saw how powerful that deck is.
Oh yeah.
Lasers and
Definitely.
Verbanks, it just does so much damage. It
Yeah.
does more damage than I do. So I saw like and I experienced the raw power of that deck. So I think that deck is something worth exploring. Um, Another thing that I might really be considering is Keldeo Blastoise with Energy Pouch.
Oh yeah. That's so
Even though
crazy.
Getsus is being played a lot, I'm not seeing a lot of Hex anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe that's an option because
Yeah.
that deck's always bonkers. The only thing that's really been holding it back, I think, is Hex.
Yeah, because like with Getsus, it's like if you go first, or even if they don't Getsus you the first turn, then it really doesn't do much to you the rest of the game.
Or
Especially
if
when
they
you have
gets
Energy Pouch.
yeah, if they Getsus you turn 1, you have a Shaman in your hand. It
Oh
doesn't
yeah, if you have a Shaman, then you just
yeah, unless you're playing against like Maxis where they'll just be like Getsus all that. Good game,
yeah,
kind of suck.
just seems really good though. I think. Now it's actually interesting that you mentioned that deck. When you much like myself, you are a premium writer for Pokebeach. So any idea when we can be expecting your next Pokebeach article?
It actually just went up
Oh, did it
like
really?
last week on Friday.
Okay.
And I write about that Turbo Dark deck, and I write about
Was it like the Keldeo Blastoise or something?
yeah, I write about that. That's part of my free part. The free part of my article, you could read about that Kelly Blastoise deck.
Okay.
But like the meat and potatoes of my article is most definitely that Turbo Dark deck, because I think that one has the most, traction for it going forward. So
Okay. Well, I mean, that's really cool. I'll go ahead and, so you said that was posted last week. I'll have to go back. I'll go ahead and post a link to that article if you guys want to read Trainer's article down below. I definitely recommend checking it out. We have more than just Andrew Mahone on Poke Beach. Um, I always see these posts on Verbank say not enough Andrew Mahone. It's like, hey, we got more than Mahone. We got another regional champion right here.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
guess now we do. And I wrote that article not even knowing how I was going to do this weekend. So
yeah,
I
well,
had so many people.
it
I like
happens.
I had like 3 people message me, be like, how cool it was to read your article after you won that regionals.
Yeah, man, totally.
Yep.
Um, okay, I guess were there any shout outs you wanted to give?
Um, I'm trying to like. I had so many people message me after I failed to shout them out on the official stream. So,
Uh,
um, definitely Austin Vance. Um,
okay.
he was my he was like the primary force behind me playing this deck. I normally talk to a lot of good players before I make a deck choice. Like I want to vet my decision with other players, so like they know. Like I get a lot of feedback because like your deck choice is such a big. And so like he was telling me play this deck, and I was like, why? And he's like, he told me why, and I'm like, okay, well, it'll be my standard, it'll be my standby. And then my buddy Kyle Warden on the last day, like right before I was like the day I was gonna leave for Wisconsin, he's like, here's a really sweet Night March deck, and then I was talking to him about it with him, and just what changes I would make, and I'm like, I might play this, but I didn't really test it that much. So shout out to Kyle Warden too, because he was testing with me a lot on PTCGO. I mentioned earlier in this video that I tested Turbo Dark with him a lot, and he convinced me not to play Turbo Dark by losing a lot on PTCGO. So Chris Collins too. He helped me out a lot, like he always does. He's always been great. Like he helped me with my cities winning deck earlier this season. Just
Sweet.
overall a very smart guy.
Oh yeah,
He's an incredible player. Like he's very underrated.
very consistent.
My travel buddies, Brandon Wynn, who's an
Oh
editor
yeah.
for Oak Beach, and
Yep.
my buddy Greg Plater, who played the same deck as me. And we were like in the hotel room the night before, and he was like, I like your deck, but I'm gonna make these changes. I'm like, don't do it, don't do it. And he cut a parallel for a Maxis, and I'm like, no, don't do
Oh.
it. And he got the Maxis out like just as often as I did with one. Then
No,
he's like,
he also made day two, didn't he?
yeah, he made day 2 with the deck. So he was like, man, I should not have cut the parallel because I hate it when Silent Lab's stuck in play. And I'm like, I told you, like, you need to be able to get rid of your own stadium sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, he made day 2 in spite of that, and he's a phenomenal player too. But he didn't really test that deck that much. He just picked it up and played it.
Yeah.
It shows how powerful that deck is. That it's top 8 regionals in Georgia. It won a
Yep.
regionals in Madison. It day 2 to regionals in Madison too. Almost the same exact 100%.
Yeah. 59 out of 60 cards. I mean.
And then, of course, my fiance Steph.
Oh yeah.
She helped me out a lot. She was like, she came up to me, asked me how I was doing every day. She was gonna tell me when I was on stream and stuff like that. She was on the stream staff.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really.
Yeah, I had
cool.
a great time.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Big shout out to the streaming crew too, because that was really cool to be able to do that official stream with Buka and
Was it Puka
Kenny.
Jaywitz or what was it?
Jaywitz wasn't there,
Oh, okay.
fortunately. I think that they said that he couldn't make it like that.
Gotcha.
I was talking to Kyle Sablehouse, Kyle, Kenny, Josue was really cool to me. Oh yeah, big shout out to Jason Klasinski too. Um, like I never, you never realize how down to earth that guy is until you play him.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
play him. He's the coolest dude ever. He's so
Oh
inclusive.
yeah.
Like they were playing. I was just about to go on stream. They were about to start up a game of the Resistance. Like, hey man, you want to play? And I'm like, I don't have enough time. I might get in trouble. And he's like, okay, well, come back here afterwards. And he
Oh yeah.
he flagged down Steph too because he asked me who Steph was. I was like, I kind of knew that we were going on stream. And he was like, how do you know? I'm like, oh, my girlfriend Steph's on stream, stream team. Oh, Steph? Oh, I think I know her. And he's like, I got to associate a name with a face. And then he flagged her down afterwards. And he's like, yeah, dude, your fiance just like creamed me on stream, like just destroyed me. And I'm like, that takes a lot to say that someone destroyed you, especially a
Well,
three-time world champion.
yeah, someone
Like,
as prestigious as Jason as far as a player goes, but
exactly.
I
That doesn't
completely
get to his
agree with
head.
you.
And he,
Like
he's yeah,
he's super down to earth. I
he is
mean,
super. He's a great representative of Pokemon, and he made sure to come up to me afterwards and shake my hand and everything like that. Like he got up off the table to do that. He took a lot of effort to make sure that I felt congratulated and everything like that, and I felt like that my win against him was 100% what it's
yeah,
supposed to be. He didn't make it to day 2, unfortunately, but
yeah, that's
he's
still
still a
real
phenomenal
cool.
player, and he's still a player that I think everybody deep down looks up to and
I
stuff
think
like
so.
that. So it's nice that he kind of sees, uh, he kind of treats me like a peer, and he treats a lot of people like a peer, even though he's the status that he is. Like he's a 3-time world champion.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem to look down on other players and stuff
No,
like
he
that.
definitely does not. And you would think that if someone won worlds 3 times, they would not, especially for as long as he's been playing, like he
Hmm.
wouldn't.
Oh yeah, because he goes all the way back to the Wizards days.
Yeah, he's met so many people in this game, but
Yeah,
Pokemon's such a social thing. And
absolutely.
Pokemon's also such a thing that you ensure that everybody has fun. Um, I think. Oh, I want to shout out Eric Gansman too in
Okay.
finals. He was my favorite opponent all day.
Yeah.
Uh, he was a super super chill guy.
Yeah.
Super cool opponent. I played him even in Swiss when we weren't in the finals. When we weren't. Of course, in the finals, you'll always have a pretty good game because both people are walking away with pretty much the same thing.
Oh
But
yeah.
he was super super chill. He was a super cool guy. I've never met. I think that he's probably one of the. If I had a top 10 best opponents in this game, he would be like one of the top 5. I guarantee. Like I swear.
That's real
Um,
cool.
but he's a really cool dude. Um, I've never had a. I've never made like pretty. I've never made like lucky plays against somebody and had them smile or laugh at me when I made it. In an
Yeah.
actual tournament game. Like usually I get an eye roll or I kind of feel
Yeah.
bad when I luck sack.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And I think I definitely had some pretty lucky moments in that first game, especially when I cold rest for 4 to not deck out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's really really awesome. Like I said, I'm really proud of you. I mean, it's really cool to see, just watching and then finding out that you won the whole thing. I was really excited. So I guess I just want to say congratulations to you one more time.
yeah, thanks a lot.
I
Um,
I look forward to seeing you in Kansas City. I mean, hopefully we get to
oh
hang
yeah,
out again and
oh yeah, we definitely will. Like
do
we will.
something.
We'll
Yeah.
do everything
Oh,
together.
totally. Yeah, and then of course nationals is just gonna be a party. Like that's gonna be a
Yeah,
blast.
and you're
But
probably are you going to Worlds even if you don't
yeah,
qualify?
I am.
Okay, I hope to see you there too, even
Oh
if you
yeah,
don't
totally.
qualify.
Yeah,
I
I
hope to
mean,
actually see you qualify.
yeah. I mean that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I just need a top 64 regionals and then I'd be in. So I might commandeer your deck from this past weekend to try to
Do it,
do
do
that.
it. It's out there. Just make sure that you're
Yeah.
very comfortable with it.
Yeah,
Also make
definitely.
sure that the deck felt really underwhelming to me in testing. Like I think that if someone really wanted to make fun of me or something like that, they could pull up messages that I sent to Austin saying like I don't like this deck. It draws very poorly. I drew 3 bad hands in a row. Like it seems very underwhelming when you're in a vacuum because you're only doing like 60 damage or something like that. But like when your opponent's like attaching energies and stuff like that, like your damage racks up, and
Yeah.
like since the deck is very reactive to the board state, like if they have like a floatstone Keldeo active, you send up Fright Knight, you lock that down.
Yep.
Like you just have so many tools. It's really hard just to like test that deck solitaire hands like you can with Night
Yeah, you
Marks.
absolutely
I did
have to have the
180 damage this
opposition.
turn. I hexed them too, stuff like that. But with this, it's like you don't have to burst every turn. Like you don't have to. Like I would sit on Trainer's Mills in my hand because I
Hmm.
wanted to react to what my opponent was doing.
Yep.
It's a very think. It's a pretty. That deck's a thinking man's deck. So
Yeah, but it's a lot more, like you said, reactive as opposed to just kind of being proactive and just laying everything down at once and overextending.
yeah, yep.
So I definitely would have to say I'm a fan of that. I mean, I think it's ultimately more consistent in the end, and it really helps you maintain control of the board. But like I said, congratulations, and
Yeah,
we'll look forward to seeing you in Kansas City. So
sure
if
thing.
anyone else here is watching is going to be in KC, definitely come find Treynor, say hi. Yeah, I think that again, I think just absolutely incredible, awesome player, really good guy, and yeah, man, I
Thanks
look
a lot,
forward to
Steve.
seeing you myself.
Yep.
All right, well, cheers, guys.